I don't know, maybe it's because this is my 5th Mission Impossible in pretty short succession, but I don't get sick of that theme, and it seems to hit extra hard in this opening. Sort of a weird win, but I could never find Benji before he popped up, so I assume they used some effects trickery of some kind, but nope, he's there. Just an effective ghillie suit.
Although technically it's a plan C.
This isn't going very well.
Honesty. I mean, it's a meme, so obviously we take it for granted now, but how amazing is this scene? Cold open where they immediately knock out the old classic Ethan Hunt plus hanging on exterior of high-speed moving vehicle equals win. And while the danger was most likely minimal, I still think we can file it under unnecessary risks taken by Tom Cruise due to his unimpeded devotion to realism. That's really Tom on a real plane, really in the air with real risk of birds killing him. Obviously, Tom Cruise is always a win. And really, just another amazing cold open in general, with a classic Tom Cruise smirk transition to the opening credits. Oh man, Solomon Lane is already there! Wowzers.
It really is you. I've heard stories. They can't all be true.
I love that they acknowledge how long this series has been going and all the insane, even legendary things Ethan's done.
Because we are the Syndicate, Mr. Hunt, and now we know who you are.
Another fun twist on the exploding message. Can't accuse each new director of letting it get stale. Lane really has that Bond villain thing going for him. But it's amazing that he did this for a strategic reason. It wasn't about showing off how heartless he was, it was about guaranteeing Ethan would chase him, exploiting human nature as he calls it. And while every Mission Impossible movie starts with an unexpected setback, this one is special. Opening the film with Ethan captured?
The IMF's misadventures date back to my earliest days at the CIA when the IMF broke into the CIA.
Yeah, but did you see the flip and then the balancing act he did on the wire?
Here is the Kremlin before. And the Kremlin after.
Yeah, but did you see the crazy space blanket projection screen thing they used?
And your results, perfect or not, look suspiciously like luck.
Yeah, but Ethan yelled mission accomplished after the last one. Honestly though, call it lampshading if you'd like. I love that Ethan and co have been plunged into the real world even more than when Morpheus was in charge. And the US Senate is calling the suspension of disbelief into question. Fortunately, it doesn't affect anything in this film. Tom Cruise's workout routine. Hey, and we finally found out what the rabbit's foot was. Just kidding. Now we can see Tom Cruise's workout routine. Holy crap, he really did that. Proving that 53 is the oh, whatever. I thought I felt bad about myself when he was 34. That's 2 drop kicks in less than 60 seconds.
We've never met before, right?
Politeness. Also totally speaking for the audience. She could be a young Vanessa Redgrave. Let's be honest, Tom Cruise sprints like a champ.
StatCom 7.
Western Europe unsecured.
Designator.
Bravo, Echo, 1-1.
I thought this sounded familiar, and here's why.
StatCom 7.
Central Europe unsecured.
Designator.
Bravo, Echo, 1-1.
It's like the other side of that first conversation. I'm only picking up on this because I watched it recently, and that's some outdated tech. But that has to be an homage to 3 Days of the Condor.
This may very well be our last mission, Ethan. Make it count.
Nothing like starting a mission off with a gunshot wound. Let's just give Ethan a determination win.
Set your watch, Brent. Ethan Hunt is living his last day as a free man.
Last day. It's almost like he heard you from around the world and decided to make you look like a fool. Well, now it's like his actual workout routine.
Langley Brimstone, go.
I think you mean Treadstone? Talk about the worst desk in the place to be playing 3 monitor-wide Halo 5. But Benji pulls it off with his little mirror.
Hunt had no trouble collecting them, and he always seems to be a step ahead of us. I wonder how.
I mean, you said it yourself. When he was stealing the knock list from Langley, you were... let's see. Stalking Demi Moore, protecting little girls in Louisiana, and fighting for racial equality against James Woods in Mississippi. Alright, I guess you were busy. Just a brief hint that Benji still loves his buddy. And it's set up that Benji probably does like the opera since he's listening to Mozart while playing video games.
If you're going to bring me all this way, you could at least give me something a bit more, you know, dramatic.
It's almost like you haven't met Ethan. Hand sniff. Just kidding. That's actually how foreigners in Austria are supposed to do the hand kiss. No lip touching. Well hey, there's your CinemaWins Austrian greeting etiquette lesson of the week. Rutger Hauer and Dolph Lundgren called they would like their evil-looking younger faces mashup back.
We have a European head of state here at the same time as we are looking for a nefarious terrorist. I am sure the two things are completely unrelated.
Optimism. Coolest digital lockpicker ever. Also coolest paper laptop ever. So apparently, other than mixing up some of the acts and bouncing around a little, this seems to be a pretty good representation of the actual opera. And speaking of the opera, McQuarrie dodged a cliche by not having Lane sitting out in the open because we all know how much genius supervillains love their opera. Nah, he's more concerned with what his assassins are seeing than what's on stage. Not really Tom Cruise on a wire, but still some sweet acrobatics. And the geography and continuity in this scene is truly something special, constantly tying each of the important players' locations together. You can feel the planning of the sequence in every shot. And I don't know much about Turandot or opera in general, but man does this particular piece build tension while Ethan discovers the assassin. The mere fact that they slowly and deliberately cut this 15+ minute scene around the opera is really impressive. Okay, now that guy is like 5'10", maybe even 5'11". In actuality, he is 6'2½". So much like with Jackie Chan, I'm glad that Tom is willing to embrace, well, at least accept his real height. And I mean, these moves are right out of Jackie Chan's repertoire. Rebecca Ferguson's workout routine. And what a gorgeous shot of contrast and smooth camera work. So someone must have recently taught Tom how to dropkick. It's like killing two birds with one stone, or wounding a third bird so the other two birds... It was a smart play, that's all that matters. Ethan Hunt plus danger plus suspended precariously from rope equals win! And with a friend this time for bonus points. Stephen Gation is thought to be dead?
That missing plane was carrying the secretary of the World Bank. That fire bankrupted a global arms corporation.
So, similar to the time Jai Courtney shot all those people just to shoot the one? Who would win in a fight, Reacher or Hunt?
I know the risks. More than that, I am your friend. Now, you called me because you needed my help. So I am staying. And that is all we are going to say about that.
Okay.
Compromise. Also friendship. Yep. Ilsa does not skip leg day. Apparently not that hard of a shade to find.
That shade is very hard to find.
Who's up for some card counting?
And what brings you gentlemen to Casablanca?
Their health. They came to Casablanca for the waters. Must have been misinformed. No? Not a lot of Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman fans out there? Oh man, her name is Ilsa. Just putting that together.
Ethan is my friend. And if I have 1 second of doubt whose side you're on...
Loyalty.
It's impossible.
I guess no one told her what IMF stands for. Finally, Benji gets to wear a mask, even if it is just in a failed planning stage daydream. And this was shot in camera with 2 sets, one on each side of the faux mirror.
Because it's protected by gait analysis, the step beyond facial recognition. These cameras actually know how the agent walks.
Okay, so that would freak me out so much I wouldn't be able to walk like my normal self.
So I have to hold my breath for 3 minutes.
You can do that.
Benji has become Tom's cheerleader since the Burge.
That doesn't sound impossible.
How long is it going to take?
Founder.
Luther. He must have one of those AI risk chip supercomputers. Ethan hasn't lost his anti-stormtrooper aim in his old age. That thing is awesome. And based on the existence of O2 saturation monitors, you know, those little clamps they put on your fingers at hospitals, they're called pulse oximeters. So I see no reason you couldn't turn that into a bright green health bar in your armband. I'm saying I want one. Someone get on it. Oh yeah, let me be the first to volunteer to go into the mechanical Sarlacc pit of death. So something I always do, especially in theaters, is try to hold my breath with characters on screen. I don't think I made it a quarter of the time, but I've only passed out a handful of times. And again, while the risk to Tom in this sequence wasn't too excessive, I still feel comfortable filing this underwater scene under unnecessary risks taken by Tom Cruise due to his unimpeded devotion to realism. And speaking of which, Tom underwent a ridiculous training regimen where he got up to holding his breath for up to 6 minutes. That doesn't even seem possible to me. A new addition to the now classic Mission Impossible silent infiltration scene is complementing the lack of a score with Ethan's heartbeat faintly pounding in the water. And now switching up the silent infiltration for super duper loud powerful sound of the deadly water blending Tom like a frozen margarita. And this is definitely one of the most stressful breaking and entering sequences in the series. Usually it's just, oh, he gets caught, that's bad, maybe he'll be captured or at worst shot a little. But this time, he dies, you die. And we have a visual cue letting us know how close to death he is. Saving that cute boy you like.
Hey, I misjudged you.
Well...
A minute ago you were dead.
What are you talking about?
This is not going to end well.
Well, of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world. Casablanca quotes aside, swear that's the last one. I love this look on Ethan's face like he's still in a daze from, you know, dying. I'm never gonna be one to complain about a high-speed chase through Moroccan streets. Ingenuity.
Got a little out of hand.
Ah! Look out! Situational awareness. You know, when I saw this in theaters, while I wasn't complaining that Tom was in a BMW while everyone else was on a bike, I was a tad sad that he wasn't taking part in the actual motorcycle chase. And then, Tom was allowed to remind me that he does look good on a motorcycle. I am a little scared that much like Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise's luck may run out someday. Riding a bike down a highway at high speeds with no helmet, no pads, and no leather... And this chase does not disappoint. High speed, weaving in and out of traffic, they make you feel the wind whipping. That's some resourcefulness from Ilsa, using his compassion against him.
Only now we are all wanted by the CIA. I'm so proud of us.
Encouragement.
And why would I lie to you?
So that I would like to hunt.
But he wouldn't have stolen it if he knew what it was. And you wouldn't have helped him.
Actually, a pretty good plan that makes everyone look like pawns.
Nothing here. It's empty.
Ugh, I love her response. She didn't know it was empty, but acting surprised or betrayed does nothing for her at this point. She knows the situation she's in. It's funny, I would have questioned the realism of that last year, but now that I have a Qi charger for my phone, so technology can do a lot of things we're unaware of and don't understand, or we're 100% living in a simulation. Either way, whatever.
Come away with me.
Oh boy.
Is that a musical cue from the opera? Really sounds like it. If so, well played. You might be saying, that's impossible, stop trying to tell me it is. But you'd be wrong, since they did it in camera, meaning no visual effects.
I can't see another way.
Neither can I.
Works on so many levels. Face value, they're agreeing. To the audience, Brant's saying the opposite, but really, deep down, we know they're on the same page and it's all part of the plan.
You still believe you can control any outcome?
He says as he swiftly manipulated into their controlled outcome.
He couldn't possibly be talking about that syndicate.
Oh, once you know it's Ethan in a mask, it makes every glance have a different meaning. Not fear of being exposed, confirmation that the syndicate is worse than he thought.
Hunt is uniquely trained and highly motivated. There is no secret he cannot extract, no person he cannot become. He has most likely anticipated this very conversation and is waiting to strike in whatever direction we move.
Sheesh, compliments. And all right in front of Hunt himself. He's having a nice day.
Namely, how you framed her.
That's also true.
Some refreshing honesty.
That's how I know I'm gonna put you in a box.
Ha! Yes, he does. Love when Ethan's so confident he just tells people what's going to happen. Kinda like that time he told Jai Courtney he'd drink his blood from a boot and then I removed a win when he threw his gun away and you all got mad at me. Saving Benji's life. And all the hundreds of others. Teamwork! Ooh, a little diversion teamwork. 2 windows? Brutal. Okay, Ethan, what is it that you have against glass? You guys get that Lane is just looking to wing Ethan at this point, right? Not kill him, just incapacitate him. That's why when he sees him through the hole looking incapacitated, he doesn't bother shooting him. That's clear, right? I love how you can just faintly make out the edges of the glass box and then you can clearly see the top so we at least think we know something before Lane does. I swear this theme has more punch behind it.
Gentlemen, this is Solomon Lane. Mr. Lane, meet the IMF.
And Joe Kramer, you had an uphill battle going up against Puccini, but you nailed it with this piece. Woohoo, did you nail it? Even if you're maybe sampling Puccini a tad. Tough is king, you know, because chess. Also still a better end than last time, Fifield. I can't believe that's the same guy.
Where will you go?
I don't know. I've done my part.
Besides, we'll always have Paris. Oh, dang it, sorry. You guys are used to me lying about bringing something up again though, right? Thank you. I know there was a little romantic tension, but not every girl of the mission needs to fall in love with Ethan. I mean, I think they probably all do anyway. Also hugging.
How can you justify this deception?
I can neither confirm nor deny details of any operation without the Secretary's approval.
Welcome to the IMF, Mr. Secretary.
Here's my official petition to bring Jeremy Renner back for 7. So far, nothing but solid praise for Fallout. Oddly enough, I've seen people saying it's still not the best. That mantle apparently belongs to Ghost Protocol. And I guess a lot of people agree with that. I know, right? For me, best Mission Impossible movie is still the first, but the best movie out of the bunch so far is Rogue Nation. My opinion was probably influenced by a really positive theater experience, but there's just something about this movie. For starters, a far more complex, menacing, yet mysterious villain than 4, and while Hoffman in 3 is amazing, he wasn't nearly as developed or as important as Lane. Lane is the Moriarty to Ethan's Sherlock. He's not physically imposing, in fact he might be the slightest villain we've seen yet. He would seem to fit into Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy better than being an updated Sean Ambrose. He seems more like a guy who would bite your nose off versus punch you. He's brilliant, ruthless, and always one step ahead. In the end, Ethan doesn't so much outsmart him as outmaneuver him. Lane makes the correct assertion that Ethan's sympathies and compassion will give Lane leverage over him. And much like Kittredge points out in the first Mission Impossible, the way to get the best of someone is to find something that's personally important to them and you squeeze. In this case, it's money. But not just money for money's sake, money to continue his syndicate initiatives of reshaping the world how he sees fit. And then on the other side of one of the best, if not the best villains, you've got Jeremy Renner really embracing his snarky side and Simon Pegg amping up his character's goof factor as well. Both are integral to the enjoyment in this film. Just the simple glances from Renner.
You've got a very warm hand.
Luther's had better outings, but even he has his moments here and there.
Oh boy.
And then, no offense to Paula Patton, she was fantastic in her own way, Rebecca Ferguson. Ooh boy. She checked off pretty face, looks good in a ball gown, and kicks butt as good or better than anyone in the series so far. She's so much more dynamic than past Hunt girls. Can we call them that? Like Bond girls? Hunt girls. Anyway, she was a great addition to the dangerous spy side of this film, as well as the we have to have a pretty girl in this movie side. Also, her romantic / tired of the spy world subplot with Ethan was really compelling. And then there's Ethan. I made the claim in the first film that Ethan's always Ethan, hoping that my memory was serving me and that I wasn't going to look like a fool for saying that at some point. But I stick to it. This is still Ethan in all his glory. Flying by the seat of his pants, smirking, sprinting, riding, hanging, and just generally risking it all to save the day. He does go a little loopy in this one, or maybe a little red dragony.
This is how we make everything right. Can you see? Can't you see it?
But number 1, he did die. Number 2, apparently this scene was shot after a bunch of water tank training and he was just totally physically exhausted. And number 3, bringing it back to the narrative, Lane is his equal. Ethan might even admit he's his superior. So he starts to lose it a little and it plays to the threat that Lane is, which makes it all the more satisfying that he comes back in Fallout. The biggest message or theme or really just subtext is the relationship the spy, read tool, has with their government or agency. Ethan is abandoned in the beginning of this movie, Ilsa is told she'll be abandoned about halfway through if she doesn't stick it out, and the whole reason Solomon Lane went ahead in creating the syndicate was because of his disillusionment with his government.
You kill innocent people.
I helped my government kill many innocent people and more, so much more.
Each character deals with it in their own way. Fight, run, or continue to do what you think is right. It gives us a deeper connection to each of them and gives weight and motivation to every choice they make. Ethan often gets to have his cake, save Benji, and eat it too, save the world. But we don't come to these movies to see Ethan fail. Well, just in the beginning. Ethan Hunt overcoming obstacles and insurmountable odds is pretty much what these films are about. And I'm still not tired of seeing him risk life and limb to make a good film. And now, as a full producer, he's proven this isn't some vanity thing for him. He wants to make something that we'll enjoy watching. And enjoy it I do. So this has been great. I feel really lucky that I got to go through all these leading up to Fallout. Even the worst of them had quite a bit to offer. Definitely cemented my love for Tom Cruise, and I'm looking forward to Fallout. Next week, a request from a Patreon supporter that I probably wouldn't have ever considered doing, but now I'm glad I did.